Good morning. Welcome to today's Sunday's version of Sunday Over Easy. If you're not, if you're not practicing some form of spirituality, really, in-depth religion, psychology, some self-help modality that you're trying to really uh, kind of tap into your own psyche, then kind of what I talk about probably doesn't mean much to you and stuff. But if you are, you know, the little tidbits that I might be able to give you on Sunday, just little 10 minutes once a week, might really help you in what you're trying to achieve in your own goals. So whether you're seeing a psychologist or a therapist, or you're taking some medication for some, psychiatric issues, bipolar, aggression, and whether you just feel really defeated in life and stuff, and you're just looking for the freaking answer, that's kind of what I try to give. I've had a lot of problems in my life. I've had a lot of tough times and stuff, but man, I've had some really awesome successes, So, and I don't want to, finish this life and feel like I didn't give any of that back, And I think we all do that, I'm not some, egomaniac on cloud nine trying to tell you, how to be great like me or something. I'm learning every day myself, but I've made such gains in so many areas, and I'd hate to not be able to pass some of that on. So my little talks, each day or each Sunday, it's my Sunday Over Easy thing, are kind of trying to pass some of that on. I'm just going to talk a little bit about some anatomy and physiology, and I do that on purpose so that a lot of people like, hey, try this, do this, do that. I can't tell you how much time I wasted in bodybuilding. I mean, bodybuilding was one of my goals, man. It's like I had objectives that I want you, and they were high. I set the bar high for myself. You know what I'm saying? I never won Mr. Olympia, but whenever I went out on stage, I looked like I belonged there. I looked like I was hardcore and stuff. And I try to take life hardcore, and don't get me wrong, man. I love sitting in front of, I make a point of, watching the sunrise and the sunset, and even when somebody smiles at me and stuff, to try to take that in and stuff, So, hardcore has many different facets. And so I'm just going to briefly mention certain anatomy physiology, all right? So surrounding our spinal cord, which is kind of like the main antenna that controls our freaking functions. It's the relay, it's the mouse that plays between our body and the brain. It disperses all these signals. And surrounding that cord is cerebral spinal fluid, and then around that is called the meninges, and that goes up into the brain, and the meninges surround the brain. And inside the brain, there's this thing called four ventricles, and the ventricles are kind of like spaces, they're cavities, they're kind of like deflated balloons that they kind of hold cerebral spinal fluid, and then they help kind of maintain that what's called intrathecal pressure. That's really important, and if it gets too strong, it can kill us. If you have a brain injury or something like that, that intrathecal pressure gets too strong, puts too much pressure on the brain, necrosis takes place, and you wind up becoming brain dead. But anyway, inside those ventricles is what's called one of those ventricles, the third ventricle, is the pineal gland, and the pineal gland has a lot of mystical connotations to it, but it's actually some science that correlates specifically to the pineal gland. And one of the things inside the pineal gland, it has crystals inside of it, and those crystals can produce an electrical field if certain fluid runs over those crystals. That fluid has to have a salt and a salt basis to it, along with some other properties that the cerebral spinal fluid has. And so if you can create a current in the cerebral spinal fluid that actually runs over the crystals and at the same time puts pressure on the crystals, that causes a piezoelectric field, and that defines a piezoelectric field. So don't get like this crazy term. It's just a way to develop an electrical current. So this form of electrical current is produced that way. Sure, we all practice breathing techniques, those of us who do yoga, do meditation, do all those things. A component of breathing techniques that is often overlooked is that we incorporate our muscles, our lower abdominal muscles, and then progress up through our diaphragm, our thoracic muscles, and then even at the top, we kind of squeeze our neck a little, the sternocleidomastoid, put some pressure. We can actually feel that intrathecal pressure increase from below to above, and actually tighten up, but we can actually feel the pressure on our brain. So if you think about that, if we incorporate that into our breathing techniques, and then exhale, the cerebral spinal fluid creates a current. Not only does it create a current, but at the top we kind of press it a little bit. We create pressure on those crystals, and that intrathecal pressure increase plus that current on those crystals create an electrical field. Now, it's a rabbit hole. I try to stay on top of it because I can go too deep sometimes, and I myself get a little crazy with it. But if you have any understanding a little bit about quantum physics, as we think, we create an electrical field. We kind of put this, and it's not just an electrical field, it's an electrical field with intent. So as we think, we create an electrical field with intent. So we practice those breathing techniques, and we create this electrical field. This electrical field is going to surround us. If we do this a few times, and we practice mindfulness and do all these techniques, it's going to create this electrical field around us. And if we think with intent and put that intent into this piezoelectric field, this electric field that's around us, this electric field communicates with life, communicates with the same life that creates the flowers, that creates things, that creates our reality to exist. So, using those two techniques, using those techniques, creating the electrical field, and then having purposeful thoughts incorporated into that electrical field, you're actually creating a dialogue with what some people might call God, this incredible energy, this electrical field that produces all these things like currents. Protons, electrons, neutrons, they're not solid. They're just these electrical currents that kind of flicker or whatever, and they make up our body. We can influence that by how we think, and I say there's a lot of half-truths. That's some whole thing. A lot of people are online videos telling you, do this, do that. And granted, that was a good whatever stuff. But if you want to grow a garden, it's not. You need to have a lot that goes into that garden in order to make that garden grow. I suck at golf, but I like to play the game. I enjoy it. Sometimes I enjoy the frustration that I'm trying to get better, and sometimes, So I talk about anything that I'm trying to do. If I'm growing my garden, I want to talk to a master gardener who's going to tell me the type of protein to put into the fertilizer, the type of nitrogen balance, when to water, when not to, how much shade it should have. I want to know all the dynamics for the garden to grow. The same holds true for the brain, and to try to manifest the reality we want by how we think. A lot of people want to tell you I think this, I think that. Well, hey man, that's a really good or whatever. I'm really glad, but I'm more attracted to people like the Dalai Lama, like Jesus Christ, like Warren Buffett, Elon Musk. They talk about how to think. You listen to these people talk, and they say, this is how you think, So incorporating that electrical field, and say you want to achieve certain success in life. Say you want to be able to buy a really nice house, or say you want to have a really fruitful. Say most of your relationships seem to be lopsided. You seem to be giving, and the other person seems to be taking, or there's just this imbalance in life that you want to create. You can completely focus on that one thing, but instead, sometimes you might want to say, instead of having the car or having the house, or what, breathe in, create the electric field, and in your mind, think about, I want to prosper, right? I want to prosper in just whatever I do, and then as you breathe out, you say, I want to help people. I want to give to the universe. So you create this kind of flow, this kind of duality where you're giving and you're receiving at the same time. So think about your prayers. Think about your thought process. Think about things that you want in life and that you want to give other people in the world. Incorporate that into that yin and yang, into your daily morning routine. Put it into your religious practice. When you're sitting in church and before the pastor gets onto the pulpit, it's going to give you this really incredible sermon that you just enjoy listening to every time he gives it. Practice those breathing techniques when you sit in the pew. Like who cares what people think? People are going to judge you no matter what you do. Man, I get so caught up sometimes. Do people think this of me? Do people think that of me? The people that aren't going to like me no matter what I do. And the people that kind of see something in me, I think they see something in me even through the bad. They see a quality. So, I think that holds true for all of us. And so sometimes we just need to have the courage to be who we are, regardless of what people might think, So I hope this little talk helped you today. And like I said, next Sunday over Easy, I'm going to talk about different brain waves. There's an alpha, beta, delta, gamma, theta, and these brain waves denote certain things. They're a frequency that our brain gets into in our childhood. We're basically on a record button in our childhood. Our brain is processing information. When we reach a certain point in our age, that record button stops and a play button we hit a play button, our brain turns into a beta wave, which is a play button, and it just is producing actions and thought processes from our childhood. So when we get angry, when we get happy, those are all reflections of things we learned as a kid. So as an adult, and we're trying to achieve a certain level of brain training, it's really imperative to try to figure out how to switch brain, how to get out of that crazy beta wave. Some of us are in really crazy beta waves, some of us are in more relaxed waves, but either way we're in a beta wave. So trying to get out of that beta wave, get more into like a gamma, delta, or preferably a theta wave, and I'll explain, go into depth about that, not too much, but just try to stay on the surface of that and explain how throughout your day you can get out of that beta wave when life seems to just be eating you up, and try to get into more of that kind of everything's okay, even if it's not okay, it's okay. Hope you guys have a great day today, and let's make today a great day. Bye.